I feel like that's a great time to get into our team specifically, talking about the World Cup and USA team. You alluded to this a little bit earlier, but I mean, you mentioned that this USA roster can rotate 2 through 5 defensively because
Mhm.
everybody is of a similar size, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", pretty flexible, versatile, can guard in the perimeter. And you look at the way the roster is constructed, like I'll say this, looking at this roster, I bet most people looking at this roster back when it was announced, I think like a month or so ago, they
Mm.
saw this roster and just said to themselves, like, this is our World Cup team. Like, there's no LeBron, there's no KD, there's no Curry, there's no Kawhi. But if you think about it, the way it was constructed, it was very, those guys knew what they were doing when they put this team together. Because you look at Paolo, he can play the 5, but he can bring the ball
Mm.
down to 6'10", 255. I mean, like,
Right.
the way he
Right.
can play the game like that, Bridges being able to pretty much guard just about anybody on the court, space the floor. He can bring the ball up. Just about every person on this roster, except maybe Walker Kessler or Bobby Portis, can bring the ball up, initiate the offense, guard almost every position. They can all shoot. They can all defend. They can all handle. So I think that was a big emphasis going into this because even though the talent disparity between USA and the world, I think, has dropped off, like you said before, having that versatility and having those options, especially led by someone like Steve Kerr, that's been in that position before with all those Warriors teams, being able to mix
Right.
and match, I think that's where we're going to get our strength from, matching up against the international competition. But how do you feel about this team? Just looking at it at a
I
glance.
like I like the team, and I like the fact that, like you said, almost anybody can bring the ball. So that means a rebound is an immediate offensive transition, immediate, right? Even with Portis, he can actually at least rebound, put it down a couple of times, and kick the ball ahead. Only thing I
Sure.
don't, it's only one thing I don't like about the team. One thing, I need to see who's going to step up and lead, who's going to be the leader on the floor general,
Mhm.
and then two,
Yep.
my most concerning would be the guard play.
Mhm.
You look at the roster and you see you got Jalen Brunson, you got Austin Reeves, and Tyrese Halliburton. The question is,
Mhm.
now what?
Yeah, could be
You're
in
stuck
trouble a
with,
little bit.
right? Like Tyrese is going to run the show, and who's going to back up Tyrese?
Right.
Which it looks like it seems to me like they're probably looking at having Anthony Edwards kind of swing between that 1 and the 2 spot, probably 1, 2, and 3 with him
Yeah,
because he could probably
that's what I was
rotate
thinking.
around those and cover up. That's still a hard loss to lose a point guard at any point. So that's my only reservation. I think it's good that they don't have the big names on the team because
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
now they can play more like a team because that's where they got beat at. So now let's play more of a team basketball, which I just like to see how they gel. I want to see them play more so they can see that gel happening because they complement each other so well. They just have to recognize, like Brandon Ingram, like everybody's long on that team. You think about the length, the arm length of
Yeah.
everybody on that team. It's so I like that Steve Kerr has focus as a defensive focus because if you think about the Bills, that's why I'm looking at the Bills a player. Long arms, you go hands in the passer lane, easy steals, easy transition buckets, right? And he's not looking
Yep.
to do the whole Steph Curry come across the line shooting threes either. I can see that. I see there's a good. This is a well thought out team, and I really want to see them reach that full potential.
Yeah, I got the same opinion honestly of this team. It was a very smartly put together, very
Hmm.
purposeful
Methodical,
construction.
right?
Yeah, very methodical. Like you can see they put their brains together and not
Hmm.
only the versatility, but I think something else I noticed with this team is the fact that I mean, Jamal, if you look at this team as far as the personalities, I don't think
Mm,
you're going to find one person on this team that will coach would have anything bad to say about them as far as the
mm,
way they work with their teammates, their coachability, their
that part.
adaptability. They all have really good reputations. Like Jalen Brunson. Like, have you ever heard anybody say anything negative about Jalen Brunson and his character?
Mm, no, but you know what, Aaron? You got to think about this though. Somebody has to be the bad guy. Got
Yeah,
to be one player to push when times get hard. If everybody's
yeah.
nice, somebody's got to step up and be that enforcer. I think Portis is that one.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I
Yeah.
think that's why Bobby is there. You got to have someone that's a little grittier, a little bit of
Hmm.
an enforcer. I mean, Bobby's kind of crazy. If you think about it, like he's not quite right up here, man. If you watch him play, there's just the way he like looks at people, the way his just eyes just kind of bulge out of his head sometimes. Like he's just like a free spirit sometimes. But
But
they need that.
think about the years past. Dennis Rodman, Meta, Meta World Peace. You
Mhm.
got to have players like that because we have one of my college team. It's a needed asset on any roster. They don't have to be the leading scorer. They
For
could be the
sure.
gritty rebounds, screens, just be that dog in the game when you need it. So
Right.
yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I like that roster a lot.
Me too. And you talked about some of the potential weaknesses here. I I was along the same lines. Like I looked at it slightly differently.
Mhm.
Um, as far as like the construction, like I just didn't see necessarily a lot of and I wouldn't say it's the talent necessarily that's a problem, but it's the guys that haven't really been on the stage before, the
Mhm.
experience component. Like you don't see guys that have played in a World Cup before, played in Olympics before. All these guys are pretty fresh. Maybe they played when they were younger, like they played when they were in high school. They did one of those USA teams, but they haven't played US on this stage before while they've been in the NBA. And a
Mhm.
lot of these guys are young. Like Halliburton is pretty young. Edwards is pretty young. Walker Kessler just finished his rookie season. So, I mean, the age of these guys is pretty young. So, I don't know how that might affect them when it comes to, let's say it's the semifinals and it's a 2 point game. There's 2 minutes left. Like, how are they going to deal with that kind of adversity that you might run into if you play in a really experienced team? If you're playing a Spain, you're playing a Germany, when the game gets really tight, like how are they going to deal with that kind of pressure? That's just something I thought about when it comes to the way this roster is put together. So I don't know.
I
How do
would
you feel about that?
say I'll say that even with the selection of guard play, right? They are hungry enough to be there, but shy enough not to go out there and just go gun happy, just shoot every possession.
Right.
So you
For
you
sure.
want to have that aggressiveness without thinking like I'm Isaiah Thomas. I shoot every time I get on the floor. I'm good just for my name. That's the one thing about this roster is that nobody's a superstar, and they all have to go out there and prove themselves. That part alone will separate the U.S. from anybody else because when you're playing at Europeans, and it's just about anybody. They know you're on the stage. They know who you are. They watch you play the whole nine. However, when they see you, they want to challenge you, and you're looking like, man, come on, please, you're not even on my level. Now, these particular NBA players can't say they're not going to say that. They're going to go out there. They're going to play. They're going to be hungry, and they're going to show you you're not on my level. It's not something they're going to talk about. They're going to do it, and
Do it. Yeah.
it should be a sight to see because as long as they keep their heads together and don't get beside themselves from the success they're going to have, I think they'll make a very dominant run. Not even just a nice one, but a
For sure.
dominant run at it. And we haven't seen that in a while. We've been waiting for that for a long time now. We need a dominant. Yes, these aren't close games. We need to open this up. Puerto Rico would have been a close game because I mean, hey, and athletes, just athletic, great league they have out there as well. But the
Hmm.
athleticism, the skill set has always been there. They're still they might not be like on the North American land, but they're still part of America. So they still get the
That's
benefit
true.
of all the lessons and the
That's
learn
true.
and they have access to all the athletes to learn everything they need to learn.
Yeah, I would 100% love to see Puerto Rico kind of make a rise and solidify their place kind of international scene. It would be cool to see because, like you said, I mean, they are, in a sense, we are on the same team. I mean, not
Right.
literally in competition, but there are some ties there.
Hmm.
So that's definitely really cool.